Today we're taking a look at Manière De Voir, one of the fastest growing fashion brands in the UK. In just 3 years, Manière De Voir exploded from a $10 million brand to over $40 million in revenue in 2024. What's even crazier is that they have done this with zero outside investments, building a global fashion empire that competes with industry giants while remaining 100% self-funded. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Manière De Voir did to achieve this incredible success and the genius strategies that fueled the explosive growth. If you're running a fashion or clothing brand, pay attention, because this might be the blueprint that you need to scale your business in 2025. From the moment that you land on the website, you can tell that this isn't your average fashion store. It's clean, minimal, aesthetic, and that strategically designed to highlight products and drive conversions. What's really interesting is how they've positioned themselves in the market. Premium look and feel, but still accessible compared to other brands that can't decide or don't know how to do the right thing for them. Therefore, many fashion brands, because they do this, they go hyper minimalistic and omit elements that make clothing websites convert well. MDV balances both worlds, high-end feeling while incorporating features every shoppers expect. They're bridging the gap between luxury fashion and high street, exactly what Reese intended when he started, right? So as soon as you go onto the website, one of the first things that you see is simply the layout, right? You see women and men, right? And this is obviously tailored towards spring and summer, but what you notice is that the colors or backgrounds, right? There's no lifestyle images here, no, it's simple, it's plain. I'll get into this more in details, how they actually position their content while actually remaining minimalistic, simple backgrounds, etc., but still portraying a very unique aesthetic. So this is the very first thing you notice, right? Simple looks, but still a style outfit, not just one simple piece. Here for men, it's a bit more minimalistic and a bit more straightforward, because they already know that, women shop the outfits, men just buy a piece or two, right? So that is the first thing that we notice, right? They portray a lifestyle while actually remaining appealing to the customers in a very minimal way. Shop the look section is one of the most impressive features that they have on their website. It is a dedicated area showcasing complete outfits with beautiful imagery, right? This approach to merchandising significantly increases the average order value because you portray images of how the customers can style their specific outfits. Product storytelling goes much deeper than most brands, right? And that is exactly what they do. Product storytelling. They showcase and portray stories with their products, right? How you style them, you get an imaginary story about what locations you can wear these products for, how you can style them, what setting you're wearing them in, for what occasion, etc., etc. It is a whole different feeling compared to most brands, and they do it very well. So for example here, this is simply just a collection page, right? This is not even the layout or the shop the look section, but this is just the page where they actually style the outfits together. And one thing you also notice is the space between the images, right? It's huge, it's spacious, it's easy to overcome, and it's easy to actually navigate throughout this and get ideas for yourself and allow yourself to think and not just being forced things down the throat. Now, some notable features that actually are quite unique to Manière De Voir in compared to other brands. So first of all, that is not that unique, but high quality imagery that rivals luxury brands at a fraction of the production cost, right? So they portray the images and the products in a very high-end way while remaining at very reasonable price features or price points. They have detailed size guides that improve conversion and reduce returns. They have smaller font across the website, creating a luxury feel while maintaining clean information hierarchy, right? So this is what I talk about with having smaller fonts and more space in between sections, simply because it gives this feeling of luxury and space, and people love that, right? Overall spacing, navigation, and presentation is exceptionally well executed, right? So you see small things like this. Even if you look at like the search bar and like the profile, your favorite, your wish list right here, right? All of these things are very well placed, and it gives a clear understanding of where to navigate throughout the website. There's no questions that needs to be asked. Now, if we take a quick look at the product page itself, right? The first things that you notice is that they have a very obviously clean and clear title and pricing right here. As you can see, it's very straightforward, but most brands have that. It's very simple. They have the shipping info, as you should always have, right above here about the add to cart button, which is great. You should always have that. But one of the things that they actually do very unique is that they have their sizing, but also their add to cart within the same button. So by the time you select the size, the product automatically adds to the cart, which obviously makes it easier and allows the customer to question less when they go ahead and buy. So it keeps them in the purchasing loop and minimizes friction from the add to cart, from the add to cart process all the way to the checkout process, right? And that is genius. And obviously we have the little wish list feature here, which complements the profile here. As you can see right here, they can access their wish list very easily, and you can see once again there's a lot of spacing down here at the bottom. So all just just a very simple and minimalistic product page layout, but very, very good and easy to, overcome and navigate by. Now, moving on. One of MTV's smartest moves is the robust rewards program. They've gone beyond just offering points with purchases. They actually turned it into a community building tool where customers become a part of the prestige family, and this approach creates a better sense of the community and turns customers into brand advocates, cult buyers and following, right? So this creates a cult following and a cult buyer audience that actually comes back over and over again, and they know that every time they place an order, they get their personal incentives, right? And what does this do? It allows them to buy more and feel like they're winning. So the rewards program has been crucial for customer retention during the rapid expansion. They have an insane returning customer rate. I've heard between even 30 and even all the way up to 45% at times, right? And that is really, really a good percentage. We usually see 30% returning, 70% new customers, as I've mentioned before. So this makes it so much better for them to build this loyal customer base that comes back, because obviously there's incentive. So if you just look at their customer reward page on the website, we can see some different things, right? They have their welcome reward, which is, just 10% discount, and then we have their standard shipping, we have birthday gift, that's obviously included, and then third priority. Then if you look at what happens when they are in the gold tier and when they spend around 1,000 to 1,099 pounds, then they suddenly get, priority customer sort, complimentary hot beverage at La Cafe, which is the cafes in their stores. And then if you look at the black section right here, plus 2,000 pounds, you suddenly get free returns, in-store VIP suite reservations, dedicated personal shopper, early access, product reviews and pre-order, all of these different things, right? So it's actually good rewards, and it's actually in-person rewards as well, not just online. They offer these unique rewards, in-store VIP, and then their hot beverage at La Cafe, right? These unique benefits that the customers can make use of when they're in the store, which is amazing. So this is just a very unique set that they have implemented, and a good feature that has, really allowed them to build a high-end customer base, increase lifetime value, and generating high profit while generating a better feedback loop, right? So not only are they making more money building a customer base and increasing the customer lifetime value, they're also making more profit because, they only pay for the acquisition of these customers 1 or 2 times, and then it's just pure profit. And they also allow for themselves to get a great feedback loop, where the customers can come back and tell them, hey, we like this, we like that, we don't like this, etc., etc. So it's just an amazing thing that they have implemented. Now, going on to the physical stores, right? This is a kind of a newly implemented thing that Reese Wabara actually did. I think it was last year he actually opened the first store. He first of all has already opened the London store. He's currently exploring, or actually in the process of opening a New York store, and that is because this store actually generated a turnover in the first year, which is kind of unusual, right? You don't see a lot of the times that physical stores generates a turnover within the first year of launching, especially when most of the sales and the presence of the brand is online. So this is a really unique thing, and I think he's done very, very well within the first year, actually generating profit, hence why he's also expanding into more stores. Now, he actually created a physical store that represents the website very, very well. It's the same spacious features, it's the same minimalism and simplicity, and the same high-end appeal that the stores actually maintain. Now, he's also introduced lounge and ambience plus bars. So he has this little bars you can see right here, where he beats the customers welcome. They can get a drink, they can sit inside, have a complimentary drink, as I just talked about in the reward system. They get this experience of not only coming in and shopping, but actually spending time in there, which is nice because it's a nice looking store, right? You can see here people can sit, they can have a look at the Broadway that the store is actually placed on. So just an amazing setup, right? And a very good location that he's picked as well. So there's a lot more stores in the pipeline for him. I'll get into this more in the next few steps as well, but just a very good setup with these physical stores, and they're already generating profit, which is pretty unheard of in the fashion industry. Now, looking at how he actually uses this store and these stores, he first of all uses them as product display. Obviously, he displays the products within the store. It allows the customers to see what setting that they're buying, what lifestyle and what brand they're buying into physically, right? And he's done that very, very well. Once again, looking here, this unique herringbone floor, very unique, very luxurious, very minimalistic, right? So he obviously just displays the product, and people can get a sense of the brand's feeling instead of just shopping online. That is a small part of it. The bigger part, or the next next biggest part is brand aesthetics. So he obviously just introduces his aesthetic to the customers throughout the whole store. These features of being able to sit down at the bar, have a drink. This is the aesthetic that he wants to portray, right? And these unique colors, these unique hangers that he has, the unique display of the products hanging in circles, all of these different things. The whole brand aesthetics the customers can buy into while shopping. It's not just a storefront with products hanging. No, it's literally customized to the whole, to represent the whole aesthetic in a very unique way. Now the second thing is that the third thing is that he actually used this to generate an experience and credibility. So when customers walk into the store, they not only just buy products, right? They have a whole experience that takes them through it, right? They get personal shopping experience. It builds credibility. They actually kind of gets the customer to feel, okay, when I go onto the website and actually buy this product, it is a high-end brand because I just experienced this in real life, right? They had this experience in the store that allowed them to buy into the high-end positioning of the brand. So now that they buy on the website, or when they buy on the website, they still maintain this feeling of it being a high-end luxury brand, and therefore they're willing to spend more, and they have more, and the Manière De Voir have just built more credibility. And then obviously there's the side of the store which actually comes into selling the products, but that's kind of obvious, so I didn't include that right here. So this is kind of the Reese world I've highlighted right here, right? He is always thinking in decades and not in months. He talks a lot about, especially on Instagram and on Twitter, etc., about thinking in decades and things taking decades and years, and really just focusing on the long-term play, because that is also what he did with these stores, right? He's looking to expand internationally. He's looking to really take things to the next level, right? He could have gotten comfortable 2 years back when he was generating a lot of profit, right? But he's not. He's putting things on the line and expanding this to a global empire and actually building physical stores. So he thinks in decades, not just months. Now he's actually also a guy that is all in or nothing. I'll get into this more in the next few steps as well, but recently he bought out his partner for more than nearly 10 million pounds to actually be all in on this brand. I'll get into that more in the next few steps, as I just said. Now he also values vision over everything, right? He's the CEO, he's the one in charge of everything, and he is building his vision. This is not just a brand or a hobby project. It is literally a vision of his own, and it is made for the tastemakers. He's a tastemaker himself. If you go onto his Instagram, if you look at how he's positioning himself, it is the same way as he's positioning the brand for tastemakers. He talks a lot about Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, all of these different really unique icons, and he talks a lot about them and takes inspiration from them, which builds into this tastemaker brand aesthetic that he's building. So this is kind of his world, right? Being all in, having a vision over everything, making products for the tastemakers, and thinking in decades, not just months. One thing that he says very, very often is that revenue is vanity and profit is sanity. So he doesn't really care about revenue. He knows that revenue is just vanity and profit is what really matters. So this is kind of the Reese Vibara world and what he built his whole brand upon. Now, if we're taking a look into the ads themselves, they are phenomenal. This is one of the brands that I really, look at when creating ads, and what we talk a lot about within the team and within my company, because they are very, very good. What I love about this is that obviously these ads maintain simplicity, but the main thing that he's done so very well is that he has no lifestyle shots. He has not based MDV upon a lifestyle. No, he has included this simplicity of the creatives, maintaining simple minimalistic white backgrounds and settings, but still including this, I don't even know what to call it, minimalistic, simplistic excuse me for my language, right? But still including this minimalism lifestyle, right? Appealing to this high-end luxury audience while avoiding lifestyle. Literally, he includes these unique accessories, these unique, settings where he has these unique backgrounds, these unique accessories in the ads, right? And he does that while appealing to a high-end luxury audience, right? So that is what I really love, and that is what we actually also see perform very well for our clients. Simple studio shots, but they still have a lot of character. Here he has included the carpet, he's matched the background with the outfits, obviously he has the MPV logo right here. It's just amazing, right? And if you look at the copy, new arrivals now online for the tastemakers, simple, straightforward. It's not really the copy that sells, but it's the image that sells and the copy that tells. And this is what we aim to do with our clients as well, and what we do with our clients as well. We just have the copy telling what the image actually is, and then we have the image selling the product. So that is what you want to do: image selling, copy telling. That is what they've done so very well, and nailed with, you know, just having a simple copy that actually tells the customer what is happening, and then the image is selling the product themselves. And this is a very important ad that I love as well, or not important ad, but a creative that I really love, right? Spring arrivals with the rose bouquet. Then they've done this little, you know, rose arrangement at the bottom where the customer where the model stands with like this Parisian outfit, you know, with the hat, with the kind of style cargo pants and blazer, unique blazer, very stunning products. I love them, right? It just looks great, and it really just maintains this high quality appeal while also having some kind of unique feeling and touch to it, right? These are some of the best creatives, and I know for a fact that these creatives perform very well because we actually also have our own clients run this kind of setup, and we know that it, you know, performs very well. So I love these ads. They're amazing. The copy is simple, straightforward, and this is what you should aim for in fashion. Having 1 to 3 line copies with very unique creatives. That is what you want to do when selling high-end products. So the ads are just amazing. Now, what they've also really done well with these ads is that they have actually done a lot of unique collabs, and the reason, or the foundation that they've built this upon is actually Reese's football career. He has a lot of good connection from his early football stages. He played a lot of soccer. He was actually a professional soccer player, I think, for Manchester United before he started MTV, or while he was actually starting MTV, and therefore he got, you know, some good connections that allowed him to get some unique collabs for the brand, which is great. Now, he also has a very consistent brand identity across platforms, right? So every single platform you'll go to, for TikTok, you know, Instagram, all of these different platforms, Pinterest, you'll see the same brand identity, and you'll also know, oh, you will always know this is MTV. When you go to Pinterest, oh, this is MTV. Or when you go to Instagram, this is MTV. When you go to the website, there's a red line throughout the whole brand identity across platforms and, you know, presence on the different sites, and you'll always know that is them, which is amazing, and which is what you want to aim for as well. And then they're very, you know, big on seasonal campaigns, as I just showed you right here, right? They take a lot of effort into putting this and targeting towards spring, you know, bare feet, you know, no sleeves, the roses right here, etc. They leave no crumbs on the table, right? They're big on seasonal campaigns, and they put a lot of effort into it, which is just amazing, right? I have never seen a creative like this, right? With the roses planted in the ground, etc. It just looks amazing, right? And they're not even laying on the ground. No, they literally planted them in the ground. It's just amazing. I love it. Now, moving on a bit to kind of Reese's position in all of this, right? So Reese is I would say, a big part of the brand, but he's avoided being the face, which allows the brand to still, you know, grow while remaining without him, because he's also talked about not wanting to be the face of the brand, because he would know that if he sold the business, the revenue would go down, and obviously it's harder to sell the business if you're tied to it, because, you know, you are the brand. So if you try to sell your business and it's founder led, you probably will have to sell an agreement that entails that you will still be leading at some point, and you will still have your shares or some part of your shares because you are the brand. He's avoided that in a very, very, you know, good way, because he never wanted MDV to be founder led. So he allows it to grow, and actually to grow past him without being the face of the brand. So a lot of people know that he's the founder, but it's not, you know, based on him, and a lot of people also do not know that he's the founder. So he's maintained that, you know, fine balance very, very well, I would say so. So some very crucial implementations and decisions that Reese has done in the past 18 months. First of all, he has moved to the US. I think it was fall 2024, he actually sold everything that he had in the UK, moved to the US because he wants to expand markets. As I told you earlier, he's opening a US store in New York and looking to open 5 more he has in the pipeline, and he's already onboarded a New York team because he wants to expand and go all in, right? He does not want to maintain or stay stagnant. He wants to add more of that explosive growth, and that he has had in the past 3 years. So he also bought out his partner Lewis for £9.4 million, being 70% of his liquidity. He openly talked about buying out Lewis Morgan, who was his partner, long-term partner. He didn't have too much involvement at the time. I'll get into this more on the next step, but he didn't have too much involvement with the brand. And, you know, Reese was still, you know, in control of the brand, but Reese knew that he was sitting on a lot of liquid cash, and he didn't want that comfort. He wanted to be in a position where he was forced to grow. So what I've written here is that Rabaro saw it as the right time to consolidate the ownership and align the company direction entirely with his vision. He plans to focus on product development, expand retail spaces, including internationally, as I just mentioned, and maintain a strong brand identity without relying on heavy discounting. He also mentioned potentially offering share options to key employees in the future, but he talks a lot about getting rid of most of his liquidity because it forces him to grow and avoid comfortability, which in turn allows him to take risks he otherwise would not have. So having this fire on your ass, right? Having this fire beneath it that you need to take, these steps, because you don't have that much cash sitting on you and you have to make this work. If not, you'll probably, as he said, be a billionaire or bankrupt within the next 5 years. He literally just posted this on his story yesterday, right? He said, I'll probably be a billionaire or I'll be bankrupt within the next 5 years, because he's literally taking these calculated risks. 70% of his liquidity is now invested into the brand, right? It's crazy. He's making some crazy moves. So this goes to show how committed he is to expanding MTV and how big his vision actually is, because a lot of people, they would have just got comfortable at 50 million liquid and having this $40 million a year brand and just, take it easy, coast it, right? But he literally burned the boats at such a high level to expand. So he's now opening the New York store, hired a New York team, have 5 more retail stores in the pipeline, which, what this brings, only time will tell. We'll see. So either he will look like a genius or the opposite, but he says that the only thing that can make MTV fail is him. Calculated risks. So that is what, he has done in the past 18 months. He's looking for more explosive growth. He's taking things to the next level by investing more in retail stores, because he saw the London one do well. He's expanding more into the physical store realm, but he's also still, relying heavily on these ads as I just showed you and really expanding into it. Even though he doesn't have that many active ads in the ad library, he still focuses a lot of the revenue and a lot of the profits, they get reinvested back into the advertising. So he's really exploding the growth and taking things to the next level, right? By doing all of this. It's crazy to see a person at such a high level taking things a notch up and risking so much when you have everything. Most people wouldn't do that. So this is amazing brand. Look into it. Even though I've covered most things here, study yourself, take things from them, implement it for your own brand. This is things that you can literally implement for your own brand. Obviously these personal risk and things that Reese are taking is obviously something that he can only do personally. But looking at the ads, as I just broke down right here, with the copy, with the images, and looking at these things, Reese as well, with being all in, do this for your own brand. Know who you're creating for, build a vision for yourself, be all in, right? Think long term, don't think in months, and looking here at the website, things you can implement, look to implement a reward system for your own brand, etc. So all of these things you can implement for yourself, and then you can take inspiration on the personal level of Reese's risk taking and what he's actually capable of, and then follow along in MTV's journey in the next 5 years. I think it's going to be crazy to follow along because of these changes that he's making. So it's one of my favorite fashion brands, and I think he's doing absolutely amazing. So that is it for the breakdown. Thank you for watching, and if you found value in this breakdown of Manière De Voir and you want my help to take your fashion brand to the next level, you can click the first link in the description to apply for my one-on-one coaching program. I only take on clients that I genuinely know I can help, which is why spots are limited. I'll see you in the next one.